Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Orange County, where Finally Quiet was invented, and the home to our headquarters. All right, well, the story started with 12 and a half years ago with my wife, who's a dentist, and she has raised to my attention that she has the beginning of tinnitus, which is earringing, and usually when you have tinnitus, that means that you have 90% of hearing loss, at least in certain frequencies. And she said, "You're a biomedical engineer, why don't you fix this?" So we're here 12 and a half years later, and I'm about to hear your story. Okay, well, it shouldn't be a surprise that dental clinics are quite noisy. You have drill sounds, you have people talking, you have conversations, you have phone rings, you have everything else, but what is really peculiar is the fact that we have this multi-noise source environment in which we try to have multi-speaker having conversations. And we also have, of course, noise bleed from other operatories if you don't have a secluded, basically operatory. So most of you are familiar with our solution, mostly the treatment. This is the first time that presenting to you. It's an honor and a privilege to present to you our pre-treatment and treatment solutions right here in Orange County. I'll just talk very rapidly about our treatment, which basically protects the hearing of doctors. You have AI speech commands at your lips, and you can not only stop the music for the patient, start the music and have them join the conversation or leave, but you can manage your entire practice selectively. You can do chair to chair. You can do code reds. You can also do personal first name. I want to speak to Julie, and within a fraction of a second, you're connected to them with our AI engine. So it's a fancy noise-canceling AI control system. And for the patient, the first generation removes the acoustic noise of drill and ultrasonic scale. And right now, in the month of July, actually, I'm very proud to announce that we'll be doing fresh cadaver head study that has never been done before to basically have all specialties and general dentists and hygienists come into the room and drill on the skull while we're collecting all the signals so that we can get rid of, in our next generation, of the bone-conducted sound in the jaw of the patient. So we're very excited for that. So that's the treatment. And then the focus, really, the presentation here, because we already have a product that's being piloted right now, will be on the pre-treatment and the post-treatment as we speak, which you will be also seeing at our booth, at CDA. All right. It all started with some of the biggest CEOs in the country, and I'm talking to some of the major DSOs, and also some companies who do AI activation and speech-to-note generation. And they say that we have everything handled on the AI side, but the microphones that we're using are consumer grade and they suck. And it's unanimously, very rare you get a problem like that, where you have basically a garbage in, garbage out. It picks up noise from the next operatory, people speaking in the corridor, and then now I have the microphones that are also picking up. Or they go with little, lavaliers, microphones on their chest, and that has beamforming, so that means it picks up only your voice. So half of the time, the speech from the patient and the inputs that you need to actually make a note complete is completely missing. And it's a huge problem. We have like 3 programs that are in the hundreds of clinical chairs that are on complete hold and losing money as we speak, because there are no other solutions right now on the market for the front end to be able to capture these things selectively. So what we do, we fix basically the acoustic input layer. We have a device called an acoustic module, which is in the form of a square. And you can connect that to a computer directly. We can change the distance that it listens to, and it gets completely rid of all dental noise because we have experience for the past 12 and a half years only with that noise. That's all we wake up with and we go to bed with. So we know exactly what the enemy looks like. And the second piece is the prism, which is the box right behind it. And that allows us to make basically like an Alexa type. What you can do, you can say, start taking notes. And it's real time. It's not connected to any cloud. You can take it home and you can talk to it and you can record conversations up to 6 months on it. Now, I don't recommend you having a delay and a lag of 6 months in your notes, but my wife says the same day or do or die. I say, okay. And so therefore, but it has enough memory to do that. So the next time you take it to your office, you connect to the Wi-Fi, boom. It uploads all the data, so nothing gets lost. In addition to that, it will ask you for the MRN number. What is the MRN number? And so you know exactly who you're talking to and the notes are for. And then we also partner currently talking to 6 different AI speech-to-note partners so that we can support them for the SOAP note-taking, payer charting, translation in more than 50 languages, follow-ups, and dental software integration. And I put it on the bottom here. We are not the acoustic infrastructure layer. We are the transcription, not the transcription and note generation, basically. All right, well, when they say it rains, it pours, for 11 years, nothing, you can imagine. It's a very long time to be in it with a very limited team, all your life savings into a project like this. And back in 2025, we came to the light. And we got the Innovation of the Year from the Irvine Greater Chamber, or Greater Irvine Chamber. We got the most prestigious high-tech awards from Octane for Best Consumer Innovation of the Year. We got the Golden Heart from TechCo's Venture Network for the top most fundable startup in Southern California. And then I got a phone call from Congressman David Min, and I couldn't believe it's him. And I'm like, you know, how can I help you, et cetera. He said, well, I would like to provide you with the Congressional Visionary Innovator Award to you and your wife, because your wife is also a co-inventor. So we were honored to receive that back in December. We went to the first for us, basically Dental Venture Summit. There, Sumikion was hosting that one. And we were the only 10 companies basically who were there, 65 key opinion leaders. And then I wait, you know, and I have, you know, all the hosts, you know, waiting and say, okay, what do you think of Peman? And I'm like counting seconds. I felt my jugular literally. I was like 6, 7, 8, 9, quiet. And then we got a, you know, unprompted, you know, standing ovation, which was, many people came to me with tears in their eyes. I have tinnitus, I have this, I have that. Thank you for doing everything that you do. And then so Dr. Zuckerberg on the top right, who's a clinical advisor to us, is testing the alpha prototype of the treatment system on the right there. All right, well, I have excellent news because we have solutions that are right now on the market, and we're piloting them as we speak. So the pre-treatment is $59.99. It comes with a speaker so that you can have prompts coming from the engine. When you say, start taking notes, it will ask you, say the MRN number. And without that, you can't forward. And you start saying the MRN number, and then boom, you start taking notes. So you have prompts that are right there at the chair, not connected to the cloud. And then the post-treatment doesn't have a speaker. It's only a microphone because your eyes can look at an LED. So when he talks back to you, you can simply see it. We have 33 letters of signed letter of intent. And some of them are hundreds of clinics. Some of them are one clinic with 3 chairs. That's the scale we're talking about. We have 3 paid POs right now, and already 11 chairs that have piloted into the first 50 units, part of our first cohort, that are basically already closed, and then we're already onboarding our second cohort. The gross margins, we have between 70 and 90%, which is gold standard right now when it comes to medical devices. I've been in med devices for 25 years, and that's really, really good numbers when it comes to that. All right, I'll invite everyone to participate in our phase 1 clinical pilot. We still have, you know, a second cohort that is open. The next, basically, 50 units. You can scan any of the QR codes, and we will have our lunch event on June 5th. All our board of directors, clinical advisors, business advisors, scientific advisors, the mayor of Irvine, the dean of the School of Business here at UCI. We have 65, you know, extremely important people who can move things in the right direction in dentistry, for dentistry, and for Finally Quiet at that event. The market opportunity that we're going after, and we only counted 20 years because our business model is a recurring model, only 20 years of practice for dentists, where the average is between 35 and 37. And counting that only for the US operations and commercial lunch is a $15.4 billion market. Going with the treatment option where hearing loss is important, that gives you 40% of hearing loss among basically dentists, specialists, and hygienists. That gives you 6.2 billion SAM, or service addressable market. And on year 5, we're going after 15% cumulative, or 7% new dental practices that we capture on basically on year 5, and that gives you a sum of $142 million. And depending on multiplication factor, that means that we are right now on track to become a unicorn company by year 5. Okay, strategic partnerships, Evo Nexus. Because we are the healthcare innovation of the year, guess what? We're not paying rent for 5 years. That's about $1 million here in Orange County, to give you an idea that we save. And we put it in what? In clinical operations, in product development, in our staff. Qualcomm Snapdragon, all the chipsets that we use, we have a very strategic partnership with them because we have custom stuff that we are developing with them only for Finally Quiet. And so we're both very excited about that specific opportunity. Catapult Education, Dr. Sam Shamardi, who's basically our chief dental officer and a clinical professor of periodontics at Harvard and UPenn, is basically every single class that he teaches through that. We're sponsoring basically Catapult through that. Orange County Dental Society, basically we're also the major sponsor of them. And the minute we had a conversation with them, they literally put us in the newsletter that went to 25, 100 dentists. We didn't even have to pay for it because they want to support the cause that is behind hearing loss, the cause behind mental illness, the cause behind dental fear and dental phobia for patients. And Dr. Balasanyan, thank you so much for being here today, ex-president of OCDC, and honoring us of your presence. Keyboard Med is on the SaaS side. They help us with everything that is related to cloud. And then level 9 for cybersecurity, extremely important, that piece. They handle government projects, and then so we took the best. And we're pursuing, as we speak, conversations with the top 12 note-taking STT companies in the world. All right, our IP, we're represented by Kenobi Martins, the best law firm when it comes to IP in the nation. And they recently won the case of Massimo against Apple, some of you may be aware. Our first patent was granted in March of 2017, covering 18 claims of basically noise reduction passively and actively. And the fact that the doctor can switch the patient between conversation and music, and external music, so that they enhance the treatment experience. The bone conductors piece, which is the vibration neutralizing technology we're talking about, that patent is pending as we speak. And then we have 8 more patents that are coming, upcoming, part of our basically portfolio for the seed round that we currently have. All right, well, if some of you get to visit our facility right here in Orange County, we have an acoustic lab that we have custom built. Our engineers have designed it and built it. And what we did, we put our square and we blasted noise from the office from one angle. And then we had a reference speech that we recorded that is every time the same. So we used AI to generate that speech, generative AI. And then and we benchmarked it with the 2 best consumer electronic solutions on the market. One of them is the Dragon. Everybody in this room, if they're using any kind of AI tool, at least must have heard of the name of Dragon. And we benchmarked, a $50, $60 one that has an AI button on it from Amazon, which is the AirHug. And then we benchmarked it against, Finally Quiet. So we go back to the garbage in, garbage out, and the Dragon has 19.27% word error rate. And AirHug, with the AI button enabled, has a 37.61% word error rate that it captures. So now, all the time that you were hoping to save by adopting one of these tools, basically the noise is sabotaging that work. And you have to go in and then either redact, change stuff, or then do voice dictation on top of it to correct what was basically captured. And the issue is really not the AI engine, is really the front end of it. This is a timeline. So we basically have our seed round that is basically towards the end of the 2026, will be closed. We have a beta prototype development that is happening. We have our in Q1 treatment system, beta launch, which is following the pilot naturally, and a commercial launch of general wellness product for the treatment in Q3 of 2028 and Q1 2029 as a class 2 medical device. Okay, and the claims are hearing protection for the doctor and the staff, and for the patient, it is lowering the anxiety. Okay, and then on the regulatory path, that's at the bottom. We have an NIH grant that we have, which is the test we're going to be doing in July. We have a lineup of 9 of the best surgeons, that are in the industry and hygienists who will be basically operating on the skulls. And then in 2028 to 29, we'll have a testing and validation in support of a 510K FDA submission. That will be my number 14. Revenue growth supports a scalable and profitable platform. So the number of chairs are projected at the top. And I would like to share the news that we are in 2026 right now. And I'm extremely proud to announce you that we are already placing an order for 1,000 next week. Thank you. Thank you. So we are revenue positive. And then we expect it to be EBITDA positive by 2029, although my CFO, Sarah Butker, mentioned that we may be able to actually pull that in, given that specific order and the way things are kind of amplified for us as we speak. This is the only slide that founders are allowed to dream a little bit, because as you know, we have to be laser focused on dentistry. That's our beachhead. But let's dream for like even 10 seconds what the ramifications of a technology like that. Basically an interface. Finally Quiet is an interface that connects humans to humans, humans to AI, and humans to medical devices. That's what it is. We are an interface technology company. Because you have your eyes on the mouth, you have your hands that are in the mouth, and so what is the best thing to send something and receive something? Well, is that audio. Is the feedback of speaking and getting something back in your ear. So this is where we see our company having that, and of course going back to the presentation on licensing by Dr. Mohammed, well, there's significant amount of opportunity of embedding that into loops, embedding that into chairs, embedding that into bundling it with the, the guns and bandages. The drills are the guns, we are the bandages. All right, I couldn't be any more proud of our team and how much we have achieved, given that our team is still in recruitment mode and our C-suite is being built. So I'll start with myself. I've been in 25 years in medical devices. I've had the privilege with the precious help of my prior teams to commercialize 13 medical devices of medium to high complexity. Some of them are, complete laboratory automation systems for blood and DNA amplification that are as large as this stage. And you're talking $200 million programs, 7 years of work, and 125 engineers distributed on 3 different continents. And those have resulted in over $2.8 billion in successful exits so far, knock on wood, through 4 different acquisitions over the past 25 years. Dr. Jürgen Stark, I shouldn't be introducing him, but I'll do my best. Well, he's the genius right now behind the operations of Novartis Switzerland. They just turned a unicorn company. And a huge mentor of mine when it comes to being humble, business, and finance. Ex-CEO of Turtle Beach Headphones. I saw that on some of the slides. Ex-COO of Motorola for their mobile division. He was managing $9 billion at the time. Just small amount. And then consultant in financial advising at McKinsey for 10 years and MBA from Harvard. Dr. Shamardi, I would like to thank, number one, Darius Samikian in the back there for the introduction. So at West Palm Beach, he made the introduction, and he has been working for the past 13 years on hearing loss solutions for dentists. And finally, quite the only thing it is, we're just amplifying that message. So it made sense for us to join forces. So welcome to the team, Dr. Shamardi, as our new Chief Dental Officer, Professor of Periodontics at Harvard and UPenn, and he's the Medical Director at Nobel Biocare. And Sarah Butker is our CPA and also our Chief Financial Officer, and has served with me for the past 2 startups that, the last one is right now in the middle of an acquisition. Our clinical stars, without them, we will not be where we are, because it is thanks to them and with the help of Dr. Shamardi. I would like to also thank, Alison Lacourcière in the back there as a business advisor who sat down and worked with us through the clinical workflow and said there's an opportunity in pre-treatment and post-treatment that the solution doesn't have. Basically what we're doing, you're looking at the impact on the patient, you're looking at the impact on providers, but not the impact on AI machines. That was the last piece that was missing for us. These are the people who contributed to that, so thank you for that. Dr. Zuckerberg, we just spoke over the phone today, sent us wish all the best. No need to introduce there, but a huge advocate when it comes to, again, mental health, hearing loss among care providers. Dr. Erbil Balasanian, sitting here, comes from Beacon and has his own practice for multiple years, oral surgeon, and wonderful family man, and has been with us. We had a demo on our kitchen table back in 2018 before COVID to tell you how long this thing has been going. Thank you for being with us and honoring us of your presence. Dr. Cal Stanley was on stage, an absolute pleasure sharing the stage with him. Again, I saw him a sign on the San Clemente Pier, dentists have feelings too, on LinkedIn. I contacted him. He happens to be my neighbor. I live in Aliso Viejo on this side of the cliff. He's on the other side in Laguna Beach. So we're at the top. So tell me how these things happen, right? So mental health, a huge one for him. Dr. Hamid Jalilian, there are 3 people on earth that in some cases can cure tinnitus. He's one of them. He's at UCI, and I'll make also the personal invitation that whoever has a problem with their hearing or had tinnitus, come talk to me because we can significantly accelerate things to get in line with him and at least have an appointment. Wonderful person and has been in dozens of hearing-related products. Last but not least, my beautiful wife, Shawaya, Dr. Sherry. She's right now with our 4.5-year-old twins. She sends her love, from home, but without her, I wouldn't be where we are. So she has been patiently waiting, for this day, for the past 12 and a half years. All right, gets us to a funding round. We closed our pre-seed, for $400,000. $330,000 of that was from our funds, $70,000 from families and friends. We opened the seed. We already closed the first tranche. And as we speak right now, there's very little space in the second tranche because of a few texts that I showed to my team that I'm in heaven right now. I can never be as happy as, for finally quitting to be able to get that back to the dental community. It's a $25 million post-money valuation cap for $5 million raise. We're giving 10% discount on the first 500, and there's, again, very little one, left on that. It's a rolling close, and on the right-hand side are the use of funds. There should be no surprises there. I would like to thank you, and if you would like to book any kind of investor call with me, etc., I'll make myself available. Feel free to scan that specific QR code. And thank you for having us, and happy hours, everyone.